Good morning, Paul.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, all.
All right, you're up.
So who the hell would do this?
Good morning, all. Welcome to the Region C AGM. If I could have everybody mute their speaker and their microphones, please, so that we can get this AGM moving. A month ago, we were going to have this live and hosted by the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and we do appreciate their effort. But the uptick in the COVID forced us to go to this fortnight world that we keep telling our children not to be part of, but we find ourselves now having to run our meeting virtual at these times. It's crazy times, and all we know is that we don't know, and we just have to go day by day and make the most of it. It is what it is, and we'll make the most of it. Before we get going, we are on a very tight schedule because we have various speakers that also has to attend the Region D meeting at 11 o'clock. So we'd like to get this, well, we have to get this done in about in 2 hours or less, if at all possible. I want to recognize John Witkowski and Kai Valma, who have been the commissioners for in Region C, and who are up for, Kai's position is up for re-election, and John is also, but they've been wonderful supporters of me over these times. So because we're on a tight schedule, I'm going to we are on virtual or out of order. It will be up for 2 weeks after this. And really, if anybody has anything further to, we have various forums over. With that, I'm going to throw this over to my sidekick, who's going to run a support here with me, Joel. And Joel, I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Great. I'm actually going to stick with the agenda here, Mike. As Mike said, we are recording this. It's live on YouTube. And I think we've got John first on the agenda here.
Hey, good morning, Joel.
Morning, John.
So I will keep my remarks brief. It is good to be with you guys today. I wish this were in person. I think everybody does. Obviously, we have to have an extreme abundance of caution with COVID floating around, and this has certainly been a extremely interesting year since we last met. Both for me, work, soccer, everything has come together and has made for a very interesting time. I think I jokingly use the phrase, the Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times, always thinking that was a blessing. And indeed, it is a curse. May you live in peaceful times would be a much better way to bless someone. But we have risen as an organization. I believe we've risen to the challenge. You can be proud that, throughout this crisis, the board has been extremely engaged with the virus and trying to do what we think is best or was best for the organization throughout. The governor threw us a curveball in May, but your board members stepped up. It was, and in the aftermath of everything that happened, of course, canceling State Cup, President's Cup, and some of Commissioner's Cup, we found ourselves in a position to where we needed to refund monies, and I'm very proud that this organization is strong financially and was able to sustain somewhere north of $400,000 in refunds. Eric will speak in a few minutes more in detail, but the organization has for many years been financially responsible, and so we continue to be in a position. Obviously, we have the big meeting coming up in 2 weeks that will have a major impact on the new direction of FYSA. no matter what happens. We are preparing very diligently for that event. We are going to do our very best to make sure that those that have a vote and a voice are able to be heard, not only by speaking, but through their votes. So I encourage you to attend. It will be Sunday, August 9 at 11 a.m. Eastern. There will be a small group of individuals gathered together at the FYSA office from where we will manage that call. But know that we're doing a lot behind the scenes to make sure that it goes as smoothly as it can. It will be an AGM unlike any that I've ever been a part of, and I would venture to say that anyone's ever been a part of. But we will conduct the business of FYSA as efficiently and as properly as possible given these circumstances. So with that said, before I hand it off to Joel, I would like to certainly speak to the fact that I have chosen not to run for president again this year. I know it's not new information at this point, but I have enjoyed my time now, I believe 14 years. I started on the board in 2007. So I've decided it's time for me to step aside and allow others with the passion and energy necessary to support this organization to step up. So it is bittersweet for me. I do look forward to being involved as past president and perhaps being on some committees here and there to still support the organization, but not have the level of involvement I've had these last two for certain. So with that said, I would like to highlight that, I'm gonna hand it off to Joel here. Joel is, of course, our executive director. And a year ago, I did not know Joel. Nobody knew Joel. We had the opportunity in the fall to get to know Joel through our, when we lost our executive director. And given what we've been through COVID, through risk management challenges these last 7 months, I can say without a single bit of doubt that Joel is the right man for this time for FYSA. And I look very much forward to his leadership over the next, hopefully 5, 10, maybe 20 years with this organization to see what he can do to make FYSA the best it can be. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, I think Eric's going to speak first today. I've kind of flipped it up a little bit, but Joel will follow him. But thank you for your passion for FYSA and for your support. I know we won't always agree on topics, and that's okay. As long as I believe, as long as we can disagree, we don't have to be disagreeable. We don't have to be enemies. And so I will leave FYSA as president, but I'm not going to be gone. And I wish you all the best. So Eric, I believe you're up next. Thanks.
Thank you for the kind words, John. Go ahead, Eric.
Yep. Thanks, John and Joel. So as usual, the board at its May meeting on May 30th approved a proposed budget, and that's been posted on our website under the AGM section. If you know where to go to look for board nominations and that information, there's a drop down there specifically for the proposed budget. And it's been there since early June, right after we voted on it. There will be a budget session coming up in about a week and a half, 2 Wednesdays from now. And so I encourage you to take a look at that ahead of time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them at the end of this or on that session as well. The biggest change that we've had this year is our registration fees. So we announced at a May 6th town hall that our registration fees will be increasing. For recreational players, it's a $3 increase to $13. And for competitive players, it's a $4 increase to $25. And those account for the insurance increase that we saw last year, which FYSA ate for the intervening season. And that insurance increase last year, we've already advertised this, but it was a little over $300,000. And as for this year, the board is meeting later this weekend to discuss insurance policies. We finally have all the quotes that we need. Joel did a very exhaustive search with vendors and insurance providers that we have not used in the past. And the picture looks to be, there's a number plugged into the proposed budget, and it looks like it'll be pretty close to that number, give or take a couple $100,000. So not anything unexpected or anything that we haven't shared already, but it will be an increase from our premium last year. And that's due to our claim history from multiple issues and multiple clubs, multiple people across the state, everything from concussions to sexual abuse, just a multitude of things over the years. So with rising insurance costs and trying to do our best to limit the registration fees so that we don't pass too much on to our members, we've also revised our financial policies for the second time during my time as treasurer. And we've taken a hard look at meal allowances and transportation costs. So the meal allowances have been reduced. And with transportation costs, we've also reduced the mileage rate. We were previously paying the business mileage rate. And for the board, we'll now be paying the charitable mileage rate, which is only 14 cents per mile. And those rates are set by the IRS. And in addition to that, anyone else, whether it's employees, independent contractors like coaches for ODPs, things like for ODP or things like that, they will have to do an analysis of whether it's cheaper to rent a car or be paid out mileage. And they'll have the choice to do whichever they please, but they'll only be paid the lower of those two costs. So for whatever reason they don't want to rent a car and would prefer their own, that's fine. They just won't receive the mileage if renting would be significantly cheaper. John mentioned credits and refunds. We also discussed these on our May 6th town hall. So in all, we've refunded or credited about $500,000, give or take. And about 450,000 of that was related to our competition department. So that's State Cup, President's Cup, Commissioner's Cup, and Futures. And about $200,000 worth of credits were given, and roughly $250,000 of actual refunds were sent. And clubs had a little less than a month to elect whether they wanted a refund or a credit. And after the deadline for making that choice, within about 2 to 3 weeks, we had all of the checks out. So a big thank you to Michelle in the office for processing those very quickly. And like I said, those were all sent by check. There were no refunds to credit cards. And we did contact in writing every single club prior to sending those checks to confirm the address. So if you have not received your checks yet, which many of them have already come out of the bank account, please contact Michelle on Monday or me, and we'll make sure that we figure out what happened with your check. But you should have received them. They were all sent in June. So it's now been over a month. So if you haven't received that, please let us know. We also had about $50,000 in refunds from our coaching department. And that came from ODP camps that we would have normally run at universities where there would be some dorms and staying overnight. And those universities were not able to have that given COVID-19. So we've refunded those or allowed them to apply it to some modified ODP camps that we held. And there's also some miscellaneous coaching course refunds that also had to be adjusted. Our background check fee is going to remain $40. And it's been that way for the last few years. Of note is some substantiation of that fee. So we've received a lot of questions of, well, why is FYSA charging $40, but US Club charges $18 every other year? Well, we found out this year, as many of you that are involved with US Club, that they have not been doing the FDLE background check that's required by Florida statute. And now they're going to be charging $18 every other year, assuming there's no change to that, plus $30 every year for the FDLE portion. So assuming you break the 18 apart, that's $39 and we're at 40. So we've been pretty much on the mark with that, even though it appeared differently because a competitor was perhaps violating the law. So we did mention on our April 8th town hall that we were applying for a Paycheck Protection Program loan. That's a PPP program through the federal government and the SBA. FYSA was approved for one of those loans and received about $177,000. And that allowed us to keep all of our full-time staff on payroll without a reduction to their pay and without needing to use reserves or any membership money to do that. And we do expect that to be fully forgiven. So even when the forgiveness criteria had to be within 8 weeks, we still met it and we're expecting full forgiveness. But Congress has relaxed that and given even more time to justify those funds and what you've spent them on. And we'll have no problem with full forgiveness. We fully meet that criteria, and we'll get going on that. And lastly, our investment reserves. So we've mentioned these every year at the AGM, but we have about $3.5 million in a managed fund. And we have an independent brokerage firm that manages that for us. And as of the end of the second quarter, we were only down 0.25% year to date, which, given everything that's gone on and the market volatility is quite impressive. And then we have in excess of $500,000 worth of unmanaged reserves, which are in things like CDs that rotate on an alternating basis. So we have not dipped into our reserves at all since I've been treasurer, and have not even through COVID. So we are in a position, like John mentioned, to weather any storms, and should COVID, with the uptick in cases, cause a problem this fall, the organization is well positioned to weather that and survive through it. I do have to drop at 9:30 for a family matter, but I will take any financial questions that you have at this point.
Eric,
Yes.
can you hear me? Okay. Hey, it's Mary with FC Sarasota. Just a quick question regarding the mileage rate reduction to I guess you called it the charity rate. Is that for all staff and board members, or is that just for the board members as their volunteers?
That's just for board members as their volunteers. We could elect to do that for the staff, but given that they're not volunteering their time and that is their job, we chose not to do that.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Well, it doesn't seem there's any other questions, Eric. It looks like you may be able to get a few more minutes with your family.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.
Joel, you up?
I am. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Eric and John. I will try to keep my comments as brief as possible. We are at a tight window, as Mike said. Thank you, everybody, for being here. One of the biggest takeaways that I've had from being here in Florida versus Kansas City prior to this and Michigan prior to that has really been the engagement and the passion of the membership. So I thank the board members on this call, as well as the affiliates. I hear from you guys so much more than once a year at AGMs. Our board meets on a monthly basis. During the beginning of this COVID crisis, they were meeting 1 and 2 times a week. They're willing to meet on short notice. So we've got some really good people who are involved in this association, and that's a credit to everybody here. So I wanted to start off by thanking you. Also want to thank the staff. Everybody at FYSA is really dedicated and really willing to adopt to a changing work environment. We've worked remotely, and honestly, in the services that we've offered to our membership, I think there's been very little lapse in it, despite the ever-changing environment. The FYSA office is open. We generally have at least 1 or 2 people there every day. We're all given the option to work remote. So hopefully we're all available to you guys. I really pride myself in my relatively short tenure here as being accessible. I know many of you guys on the phone already from phone calls, but over the next year, 2 years, who knows with COVID, I hope to meet all of you guys in person. I truly am a relationship driven person. So call me, text me, email me. I really take a lot of pride in being accessible. So please utilize any medium to get a hold of me, and I will do my best to get your questions resolved. I wanted to start with the AGM webinar series. This is something that FYSA frankly moved to in response to the coronavirus. These are the sessions that you would normally see in the days leading up to the AGM. And I have to say that these have been really well received, and we're getting a tremendous response from them. There's still 2 weeks left. We've already done 2 weeks there every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. The schedule will change a little bit as we move forward. There might only be one in a given night, but I'm going to change screens really quickly here to the AGM webinar schedule. This through our town halls that Eric mentioned, we found that these types of Zoom calls, this type of interaction with the membership was really helpful in for transparency, as well as a new way, an easier way to interact with the membership. And it was sort of forced, if you will, by COVID. And these AGM webinars have been sort of just another step in that direction. So it's right here on the FYSA website under the events tab. There's a button directly for the AGM webinar schedule. And if you scroll down here, there's a calendar of a given week. And you can see coming up here next week, you've got, we'll start our DOC region meetings. These will be pretty similar. So we have told people if you're not available to go to one or the one for your particular region, you're more than welcome to go to a different one. The information will be similar, but Tuesday, the 28th, we'll start with State Cup and the tabled rules discussion from last year's AGM. We got some really good stuff with Siggy coming up with college recruiting, President's Cup, what drives winning with Siggy as well. Should be really good. And then I've got to highlight the week before the AGM. I imagine these will be very well attended. A discussion on the proposed rules and bylaws, the budget overview, as well as the candidate forum on the Thursday before the AGM at 6 p.m. So the process is a little bit different than this type of webinar. You will need to register for the webinar. And once you do, you'll just get a link to join. But this has been a really effective way to deliver information to our membership. So please register for these. And one of the best things is if you miss out on any given one of them, they are also, like this meeting, posted to YouTube. So all the past ones from last week, you can see we already have the link up there to watch the YouTube video. This one, if you at all have an interest in risk management, where we're at currently on insurance liabilities, please watch this one. We were joined by our longtime insurance partner and Emmy Wilson. Really gave a deep dive into the insurance, really the exciting stuff that I'm about to jump into here as well. But it is posted up on YouTube, so please watch those and attend the ones that are coming up this week. Switching back to the PowerPoint next, I'd just like to talk about the 2020 AGM. Information has been starting to trickle out. I won't lie to you, moving this event virtual has presented some challenges. However, we are very confident that we are going to be able to achieve the goal that the board set out to achieve, which is duplicating the experience that you would have in person virtually. I guess to start with, the AGM is still Sunday, August 9th at 11 a.m. There's no fee to join. Please join us. It's about clicking a link now. You don't need to go to Orlando. We have contracted a company called eBallot, who will be running the elections. The elections will be secure. They will be instantaneous, and they'll be run by a third party. We heard a lot of concern out there when we first moved to digital. Will it be me behind the scenes running the election? Will it be a board member? Certainly not. It's going to be this third party company, and adding to our comfort in that, later today, 2 p.m. is the U.S. Youth Soccer annual general meeting for our governing body, and they are also using the eBallot platform. So we felt that would be a good company to go with, and in all of our testing leading up, it met all of our expectations. Everything is going to be possible on there. Amendments to amendments, people running from the floor, all of the last minute changes that sometimes come up at an AGM are still out there and available. Proxy votes are out there even as well if you're not available that particular day. So we're striving really for the same experience. There will be a large Zoom call like this that we're on right now, and then there will be another platform on a web browser where you will vote on particular motions as they come up. It will also be streamed on YouTube. The YouTube users, we're hoping, will be more people who are just there to watch. Anybody who has something to contribute, if you're a voting member, if you're from an affiliate, you'll need to be on the large Zoom call so you can interact. YouTube, as those of you who have watched our board meetings that are streamed on YouTube, watched other regional meetings that are streamed on YouTube, any of our town halls on YouTube, know that that's generally just a chat function. So if you're going to talk, if you're going to interact, you will need to be on the Zoom call. Finally, on the AGM, there was some information that was just distributed yesterday that we will be doing. We finally got a date. I've been getting an awful lot of inquiries about how are we going to make the membership comfortable with the voting process. And we're going to do a live test run for e-ballot. And that has been scheduled for Monday, August 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. That we will have, it'll be almost the exact same thing as the actual AGM. Everyone will have an individual login with their votes assigned to it. We will have the Zoom call, and this will be a practice. Believe me, I've done the practices for e-ballot. This could not be more simple. A motion pops up, you have a certain window to cast your vote, you click the button, your vote's tallied, the results pop up. This is going to, I have a lot of confidence that this will be running very smoothly. Moving on to coronavirus and COVID-19, the latest. I'm not going to recap all of where we've been and where we are now. May 22nd order of the governor really changed everything for us. FYSA really took a similar stance to the governor, saying that this is going to be a county by county. We have our return to play guidelines available on the website. We have further adopted the U.S. soccer phases of return to play. I really push people toward these U.S. soccer phases. They have a chief medical officer by the name of George Champus, who is really an expert in this field. Obviously, he's an MD, and the information that he has put out there is so in-depth and so detailed. I almost can't think of anything that's been missed. However, the tricky part of this is that their phased approach doesn't necessarily match up with Florida's phased approach or Georgia's phased approach. They have their own phases, just like Florida does, and just like every county does. So just because your part of the state may be in phase 2 may not mean that you're ready for phase 2 of the U.S. soccer play on guides. So I've actually helped a few affiliates saying, hey, here's what my county currently allows, which phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3 of U.S. soccer's play on guidelines work best. And I'm happy to give that kind of information. All 3 phases of U.S. soccer return to play are posted on the FYSA website. In fact, they're linked on the front page. I also want to touch briefly on the waiver and the hold harmless. Got a lot of questions, a lot of great questions from people. I know that everyone's got attorneys and legal counsel involved in their boards. So FYSA has put out the waiver and hold harmless, which is, let me pause for it, required for the fall season. All FYSA participants need to have the waiver and hold harmless form signed. We're trusting a lot in our affiliates that they are going to get that done. The task of collecting 100,000 of those sheets is frankly impossible from our end, and we think that it adds an unnecessary administrative step. We don't collect your medical release forms, right? Feel free to recreate this form digitally. Feel free to make it a typable PDF. Feel free to add your own affiliate name to it. We have released on the risk management page of the FYSA website both a PDF version and a Word document version. If you want to add your club to it, feel free. If you want to have your internal counsel tweak it a little bit, go ahead. I'd say not to veer too far from what we have out there. We've had this reviewed by our legal counsel. We've had it reviewed by U.S. Soccer. We've had it reviewed by our insurance providers. We've had it reviewed by U.S. Youth Soccer. Many of them stopped short of giving them their legal opinion on it, and we would have to do the same thing. However, this has gotten in fact, of those entities I named gave it the very unofficial thumbs up that this should be good. We all know that a waiver is what it is. It will just help protect you in the case of litigation. So please make sure you are getting that form signed. As Eric alluded to, we're in the midst of probably the most, no, not probably, the most difficult insurance renewal that I have ever been a part of in 13 going on 14 years of being in this industry. We talked to dozens of carriers. We've done some outside the box thinking. We've talked to carriers overseas. We've talked to Lloyd's of London. We've gotten multiple quotes. It's just been a very, very delayed process. Let me apologize to everybody on this phone that needs their certificates of insurance and we don't have it. Know that the delay in this has been from a place of keeping your insurance or your registration fees as low as possible. We got a quote probably 2 weeks ago from a carrier that had terrible coverage. I mean, just much worse coverage, and was well in excess of it was closer to $1.5 million. We now, because this has been such an intensive process and because we've waited closer to, we now have quotes from 2 other carriers. And as Eric talked about, we have a meeting tomorrow to make the final decision. Everyone on this call, I'm committing that you will have your certificates of insurance or an avenue to obtain your certificates of insurance at some point next week. We apologize, but as Eric alluded to, this has to do with claims history. FYSA finds ourselves in a difficult place to be insured. And certainly having 3 quotes has been great. It's been a credit to our team, our staff, and the board, who has been really committed to my final point here, which is risk management. Risk management, I feel, without trying to slight anybody, has been a bit lacking. And I think that's a testament to the changes that we've made in my short tenure here. We've enacted a new risk management policy. I think everybody might be tired of hearing me talk about it, particularly those board members, but I'm very proud of it. It's 14 pages. It complies with US soccer, Florida law, Florida statutes, most importantly, the Center for Safe Sport, which is the Safe Sport Authorization Act of 2017, federal law. This is a really intense, deep dive. I haven't seen many other state associations or even YSOs do it much better. If I can brag for a moment, this covers everything from prohibitive conduct to frankly things as little as goal celebrations and what's appropriate and what's not, team travel, local travel, and a credit to our board of directors, we took this a step further. Even we've mandated some things that were only recommended by the Center for Safe Sport. Know that this is 100% put out in an effort to keep children safe. That is the top priority of FYSA, and in turn, it's going to help our insurance premiums. I'm going to address a question that I've gotten on every other AGM. Generally, after Eric's report, it comes to him or it comes to me. When Eric mentioned that the fee increase this year only covers the insurance costs that we got last year. And people always ask, well, you're getting another giant increase this year. Should we expect another fee increase next year? I think the board is with me on this, are not willing to make a firm stance on that yet. We don't know. We have a year. But the way we combat that is through risk management. We talked about it a lot on our last town hall last Wednesday. The experts, the insurance experts from M.E. Wilson said that's how you battle raising premium, is through the strides that we are making with risk management and ensuring that there won't be future claims. So please, please, I cannot stress it enough. We have to take risk management serious. We have to take safe sport serious. I akin it to the things that you saw coming out of New York City in the wake of 9/11, right? If you see something, say something. It's the same idea for safe sport. FYSA is also proud to put out a tip line now that's available 24/7 that it will stay anonymous. If you suspect any child abuse, we as mandatory reporters are all federally mandated to report it, but a good resource line to start with is definitely this tip line that FYSA has procured. The phone number is 866-607-7233. Available 24/7, not manned by FYSA. You can certainly stay anonymous. We'll put it out there. So please, guys, take this very serious risk management. And I will leave it there. Mike, I apologize for talking so long, but I'm happy to take any questions as well.
Well, no, Joel, I mean, you know, everything that you covered is so important to how we operate and how we go forward. And you know, I will say that you've put in, you know, 8-hour weeks in order to get this done. So you know, we understand the importance of all this. If there are any questions for Joel, please up now.
I have one.
Sure.
Joel, recently the Florida High School Athletic Association finished their emergency meeting and came out with some recommendations as to their startup. We've been looking at that very, you know, interestingly, because obviously high school soccer and of course we look at high school football, which is a passion here in Florida. If it can go back and, you know, play as it should or could, then in soccer our challenges seem to be a little less. We didn't get much out of that, but there was one striking thing that I think you should look into, and it came out of the meeting, and it was a bulletin, and it stated on there that the athletic association and the people, I guess it's the schools, have to have the virus covered in their insurance. And I thought that was interesting because everyone has told us up to this point that nobody will cover it. Would you check into that, please?
Yeah, I absolutely will.
Because if they find it, if they've got a carrier that will do that, then maybe we should look into it.
Yeah, no, I saw that same thing.
What did you think?
Yeah, no, I believe Kai sent it to me actually. Yeah, I have asked our agent about it here. I'll tell you candidly that every state association has had communicable disease coverage, liability coverage removed from their policies. I'm not familiar with what FHSAA or I guess the districts, what type of coverage they're getting. I'll certainly look into it, but it has to be more robust than ours. If you listen back to our webinar on Wednesday, it talks a lot about the limitations. You know, we don't have property coverage. We're not covering damage to your fields or damage to your facilities. We cover more liability issues. And I'm guessing that a lot of the communicable disease coverage probably comes more with property since you're physically being there, but that's my non-insurance professional guess. So I absolutely will look into it. If that's something that we can get at an affordable price, I'd love to throw it onto there. But I kind of cringe at the thought of what that would cost in the wake of what our current premiums are without it. But I can tell you unequivocally that no other of the 55 state associations, U.S. Youth Soccer state associations, have been offered communicable disease coverage. So it's got to be something different in the type of insurance that they're procuring.
Yeah, or you will look like a superstar in finding out the one insurance company that will cover it.
Yeah, exactly. Geez, if there's an insurance company out there,
positively, Joel, not negative.
Thank you. If there's an insurance company out there that I haven't talked to in the last 4 months,
that's my point. Yeah.
Thank you.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
You know, if I could just say something on that, I think partly it's possible because schools are partly self-insured by the state. It's, you know, the state has a much stronger arm in getting it than a private nonprofit like ourselves.
So it's available to them, but not to us. Is that it? Would you say?
I don't know the exact circumstances, but I do know from a legal point of view that the state has the ability to insure things in a way that private entities do not.
It's a tightly held fund of some sort that they have.
Yeah, I mean, essentially there could be. I mean, this is pure speculation. Yeah. I don't know exactly the legal.
Hopefully, Joel will check into that and have the solution. I know he'll get to the end of it for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Joel.
Go ahead.
Hey, Dave.
Two quick notes. Can you type in that phone number you just gave for Safe Sport, the hotline, if you will, into the chat box? And two, a big plug and make sure others know about it. Joel and the staff put together a questionnaire for for questions for campers for ODP that I think is phenomenal. And I've never seen anything in my looking around in order to like question people about COVID and whatnot. So great resource. Excuse me, if you want to get a copy of it, reach out to Joel and others. 4 simple questions, bullets of the symptoms, name for a signature or a date, and or it can be verbally provided as well. So good stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. We're in the process of getting that ready a little bit more for mass distribution. Feel free to send it to everybody. It's what we used at our camp, and it's a really good. It's another addition to compliance, right? Somebody shows up at the field, but we're still putting it through some proper channels. But yeah, that was something we were really happy to put out there, and you see a lot of states using things like that. And yeah,
So,
Dave, I am putting that phone number out there for everybody right now. Sorry, I just sent it to you the first time.
Joel, I don't see Abram. Is he on?
I know I sent him the link.
Yeah, I don't see him. Well, if he joins later, we'll get hold of him. So, Alice, you got the floor.
Can you hear me?
Alice,
Abram is there.
is there? Yeah, okay, I didn't see him. Okay, Abram, there you
Sorry,
go.
Abram.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I hope everybody stays safe. It's been a lot of stuff going around, flying around. I got a couple of emails after a meeting on Wednesday night, I believe, the seminar. Joe, I'm gonna send some to you because I've been getting a couple of emails and phone calls and wanting to know why we're not paying their background. So I told them they have to contact you. Gentlemen, a lot of questions been coming up. People pulling our taxes, that's fine. They could do that. The bottom line is on our investment account, we started out with 200. We are under 200 because of the way the market fell. We keep 200 in reserve, and that's for extreme emergencies such as every club does. And our operating budget annually runs from about 190 to over 200,000. It varies depending on what's going on. Not getting to the specific numbers and all that, we're going to have remodify the 2020 budget. It's going to get posted here very shortly. We did drop our fees. We are each referee, assigner, assessor, instructor. I hope I got them all. Referee, state referee, emeritus referee, instructors, assessors, and assigners. We're dropping the fees, and we're dropping the fees that you will be paying we will pay no fees to U.S. Soccer to register you for 2021. That's not coming out of your pocket. That's coming out of our budget. We got it in. Right now, we're scheduling it roughly, changing the thing to roughly about 80,000. I'm hoping I have to pay them 190,000 because what that means, we'll have a whole bunch of new referees. What we're doing right now to entice referees, we're giving out 800 free kits to new referees. As of this morning, we had approximately 102 brand new referees in the process of completing. We probably got about 50 of them completed, just waiting for U.S. Soccer Learning Center to open up so we can register them. Other than that, I don't want to take much time because I see we got to go somewhere else. If anybody have any questions, please send them to me via email. My email is abram54@gmail.com. And a phone number that you could get me at all times is 305-697-8844. And I will respond to your email or your phone call. And if you got a question on assessors, I will send you to the right person, on assignments to the right person, and training, I send you to that right person right there and then. If no one have anything, I'll be listening. You can send me some information. I'll monitor the chat. If you got a question for me, I'll answer it as quick as possible. Thank you for having me.
Alice, you're up.
Thank you, Mike and Regency, for allowing me to come on today and speak to you briefly. I hope that every one of the last 2 weeks, the God Soccer seminars has already taken place. The ones we normally have at the AGM. We did one that opened up, and our first one was to introduce everybody to the new platform we'll be going to in the 21-22 seasons called Got Sports with Got Soccer. We also had the new registrar seminar, and this past week, Thursday, we also had the one for new old registrars, the experienced registrars, which we allowed Got Soccer to go through the Got Sports. They probably just did part A, not go through the whole thing because we didn't have enough time. So don't feel upset that we didn't get to see the whole platform, because one of the things that's coming up starting the second Tuesday of November, and every Tuesday of the month, every second Tuesday of the month, starting November, we will have the Got Sports training. And so we would urge everyone to, all the registrars and all the affiliates, make sure all your registrars be on board for those Tuesday meetings starting in November, where we can be ready to go by the time tryout starts in April or May, and no later than June, when we would start preparing for the next season. We don't always start getting ready for the next season in August. We start getting ready for the next season in June. So I want to make sure all our registrars and all our affiliates will be comfortable with the system, and we'll be able to move forward into this new platform. Also, do not be afraid about the new platform, the Got Sports, because the legacy system will still be there. That's what Got Soccer called the old system. All the information will still be out there for us to go back and review. One of the things that we have discussed with Got Soccer, which is your choice, we would like to make sure we start a clean slate, because there's a lot of duplicate accounts. There's a lot of information that is not correct. So if we can put into the Got Sports platform all new information, and therefore we won't have duplicate accounts, that will be wonderful. But if you want to make sure that your files are clean now, you can start merging your accounts and cleaning that system up. That's one of the things I know that each one of you receive emails from Rosemary periodically asking you to go out and merge your accounts to clean the platform up. Also, one of the other things that I want to say, even for this year, is that we will be making minimal changes to the legacy system in this 2021 system. We don't want to spend a lot of time in trying to do anything in that system this year, because we want to make sure we put efforts for Got Soccer to make any change that we desire for the new platform. If you all have any suggestions, maybe some of the things you've been talking to Got Soccer over the last 10 years, send that information to Joel and myself, and we will pass it on to Got Soccer and see how far along we can get that information in. We won't be the first state to go to this platform, which is great. Along with Joel, we made a decision that we was not going to be the first one. So they have been moving, I think, about 12 states or more into this new platform. So there's a lot of changes that we desire that is getting taken care of now before we move over to the 21-22 season. Now, back into this season, we do want you to remember we are in the legacy system. I want to make sure that everyone take care of your background checks. Make sure that you do your Safe Sports and your CDC, and get ready for the new season. The event registration will go up for the new season on August 1. Want to make sure everything is intact. If someone take the Safe Sport and the CDC and it look like it's not connected, if they have their certificate, send it in to Rosemary so she can connect it, so you won't have any delay in getting your coaches and that are tagged onto your rosters and passes printed for the season. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to be your state registrar for this past year, and I look forward to another exciting year working with all your new clubs, all your clubs into the future. One other thing about new registrars, I want to also put out, we did have the webinar, and sometime that within an hour that we cannot go over everything, and there's questions they have. Please remember, and I think they put it out on the YouTube, and contact Rosemary, myself, or Joel, that you can have a one-on-one webinar with Got Soccer, that you can go into your club and work with them on that. So please take advantage of that so you won't be lost. Your new registrars will not be lost and get things into the wrong place and have to rechange so they can get off on the right fit. That service is there for you to take advantage of. And once again, I want to thank you all, and thank you, Mike, for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Alice. Up next, FYSA competition report from the Greg Zach, who is a very happy guy with Liverpool now hosting, being the champion. So go on, Greg.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, it's been 30 years. If anybody's been following the game, it's been 30 years. A long time coming. Nice to see so many familiar faces. God, I haven't seen Perry in over a year. I had to have to do a double take with that with the new do there, Perry. But again, thank you for the opportunity and the confidence you showed at the last AGM, and looking forward to maybe cementing a few new competitions this coming year. Without a doubt, this past year's been nothing less than the most challenging time I have ever had in 47 years of coaching and working on various boards. The landscape of competition, politics of soccer in Florida is ever changing. Apparently there are people that come into the state and think that they can be everything to everybody in the state of Florida without knowing even what the landscape is. But unfortunately, the COVID issue worldwide has caused for all competitions in Florida to cease. And, you know, when we can really resume competition is still in the air. I was on the Florida High School Athletic Association call, and they had a gal there, a Dr. Maynard, who had some very realistic statistics and procedures and a way forward. The board there decided to take that as information only and not act on it. So unfortunately, soccer is a winter sport, and they're addressing football and volleyball at the present time. So it'll be, we'll have to take our cue from there. And I know there's some other states that have minimized the risk factor for soccer. Football, hockey, lacrosse is like at a very high level. Soccer is in the middle. Swimming, rowing, that kind of stuff is low risk. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out in the next month. I've not been as fortunate as my predecessor in that there were no State Cup or President's Cup finals to attend and enjoy. Thank you, though, to those clubs who did step up for those competitions, as well as the Commissioner's Cup, to volunteer their time, resources, and fields. No doubt, without those contributions, nothing could have been scheduled or even, you know, no competition. The competition staff that we have at FYSA, along with the support of the entire FYSA office, is to be commended for their hard work and countless hours of professionalism. They do a great job at what they do and are to be commended. As we move forward, though, in this coming year, in time of uncertainty, like I said, I'm looking forward to serve in this capacity and hopefully get to implement some new ideas and make some significant contributions to the game here in Florida. But as everybody knows or doesn't know, it's been extremely difficult trying to get buy-ins from affiliates, special interest groups, and of course, trying to understand and navigate egos and personalities in the state here. So, you know, trying to keep everybody happy and trying to be everything to everybody is a monumental task. I will, you know, I would hope, along with the membership support this coming year, however it works out, I believe we can make soccer in Florida exciting, relevant, meaningful, and great again. If anybody has any questions, I will be more than happy to field them at this time. Thank you.
Thanks, Gregory.
Thank you, Mike.
Dara, VP Player Coach Development.
Morning. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Morning, Regency. First and foremost, thank you so very much for allowing me to serve. It has been an insane, I guess, year, if you will. For the most part, everything that we've done on the coaching side, player development side, has been done literally the way we are right now, virtually, from Our recreational meetings all virtual, our coaching committee all virtual. I did have the opportunity to attend several ODP trials along with the Southern Regionals, where of course our Florida teams all excelled and did very, very, very well. So that was exciting to see, and exciting to see all the other teams from Region 3. So that was exciting. I would like to say a massive congrats to a very special person that we have here with Dave Robinson on the TOPS, who's been in charge of our TOPS program for quite a while. So Dave is, he's now going to be, he's got a new role with USYS as the national chair of TOPS Soccer. So again, we're so proud and happy and honored I was honored to have been able to work with Dave and the TOPS committee as well as. But some exciting things coming down the line. Hopefully, once we all get away from behind these computers and back on the fields, with our recreational committee, we have the road show coming, and we also have the United Cup, which is going to be very, very exciting. That's going to be a regional event. So a lot of things happening. There will be a technical director / DOC virtual town hall for our region, Region C. That is going to take place on August 4th. It's 2 to 4 p.m. The topics that are going to be covered, of course, ODP, the recreational program, player development, along with coaching education and the grassroots licenses, D license, E license, etc. Thank you.
Ms. Jill Hartley.
Jill had something pop up, so I'm going to just real quick run through her points. I just texted you that, Mike, so okay. Apologies. As Eric alluded to earlier, competition refunds have been sent out. Look for the vouchers for any of you guys who got credits in the next week or so. The staff is compiling those. September 12th is now your new date for the start of both FSPL and Sunshine Conference. This hasn't come out in an official capacity, but U20s have been added for the 2021 competitions. That's State Cup only, actually. President's Cup will allow for U19s, which they haven't had in the past. This is directly due to the coronavirus. We are looking at, we know now that safe sport training is going to be mandated for 18 and 19-year-olds who are participating in youth competition. That's something new. It's going to be labor intensive. We're working on how we're going to manage that best right now. So once an athlete turns 18 and they're participating with minors on the same team, they will need to do their safe sport training. However, if this is a U20 exclusive team and they're all 18-year-olds, then they actually won't need to do the safe sport training. But interesting dynamics in this this new environment that we're in. But yes, U20s for 2021, very exciting that they'll be adopted for FSPL, Sunshine, State Cup as well. But again, not President's Cup. President's Cup will go up in age. Normally it ended at U18. They will allow 18s and 19s combined for President's Cup. So affiliates, league affiliates are welcome to have those same standards as well, as long as they adhere to the safe sport training. That's all.
Yeah. One of the programs that I think we would like to see a more visible is the TOPS program. And to talk about it here is Jennifer DeTilio, who's probably one of the more in-know person when it comes to TOPS. Jennifer, yours.
Jen, I'm going to send this to you right now.
Jen on? Jennifer?
She's asking to be unmuted.
we go. Can everybody hear me now? Sorry about that.
Yep.
Okay, so let me. Here we go.
That's 1 minute less, Jennifer.
I know. I'm down to 6 minutes now.
Yeah,
Okay. So can everybody see my screen now?
You got it.
Okay, so this is a quick presentation about Top Soccer. We're going to do an overview. I'm going to try to get a video to run and hope it works. This is recorded by Cal South, and I think that it gives you a really good overview of the program, whether it be here or in California.
Top Soccer is the outreach program to provide soccer opportunities for players of all levels of ability. And our goal is to provide a great opportunity for them to have fun, play soccer, and be part of the soccer community they are. The other part of our goal is the outreach part, is to bring the soccer community in to interact with our kids, letting the communities know that we are here, that Top Soccer is here, and that there is soccer opportunities for everyone. If you don't have a program, look around and see where there is a program. If you can start one, we're here to help you. Top Soccer is important for the game of soccer, and these kids make everything worthwhile.
Okay, in Region C, you guys are lucky to have 3 people that sit on the Top Soccer Committee. You have Bob Stover. Bob does the northern part of our region. I cover the central, and then you have Dave Robinson, who covers the southern part. And congratulations to Dave for being the new top soccer person at USYS for us, which is nice. This is a list of the current clubs we have in Region C. If you have a top soccer program and you don't see your club listed here, please reach out to one of us so we can make sure we get that information corrected. In Top Soccer, we use a little bit of different language than you use in a regular recreation or competitive program. One thing we do is when we're talking about a player, we refer to our players as athletes. We refer to our volunteers as buddies. And then we have our coaches who, of course, they're coaches or leaders. And then usually the parent in Top Soccer is the observer. If you're concerned about finances and then starting up a Top Soccer program, FYSA has 2 grant programs that we have in place. One is for new clubs. There are restrictions to both of these, so keep that in mind. You can get up to $1,000 reimbursed if you're a new program. For existing programs, we do a reimbursement based on your number of players from the previous year. And the best thing about a Top Soccer program is it's 0 cost to you to register your athletes, buddies, and coaches. Now, of course, your buddies and coaches still have to do a background check and safe sport. That's just the law. So getting started. So there are some things you need to know about Top Soccer. One of them is Top Soccer is unique. Your program will be based on the needs of the athletes that register for your program. We have a coaching course that we give that is put together and run by the Top Soccer Committee, and it's been put together by different Top Soccer people across the United States. We strongly recommend that you have 1 or 2 people in your program take the coaching course. It runs around 3 hours, and it's tailored specifically to some administrative pieces of Top Soccer, but also talks about the different types of children you may have with autism or cerebral palsy or anything like that. So it kind of goes through those different types of athletes that you may see in your program. We do have a field session that goes with that. It is recommended that you try to hold a field session if possible. And then of course we have a buddy course, and that is about a 1-hour course. That's just to help. The buddies are, every athlete usually gets a buddy, or you'll pair up 1 or 2 maybe. So your buddies will get some training on how to work with their athlete and what they might see when they are in the program. There are some resources for you. Number 1, there's Bob, myself, and Dave. We're your coordinators. then if you have registration questions when it comes to Top Soccer, you're going to want to call Rosemary. She is the best at what she does, and she's going to help you get your Top Soccer players in. If you register a Top Soccer player as rec or competitive, you're probably not going to get your money back. So you want to make sure that if you do a Top Soccer program, that your registration is done correctly. We also have the USYS Top Soccer website. It has a lot of information to help you get started and for different resources on different drills you can do with your athletes. Then I strongly recommend this one, other top soccer programs in the area. My philosophy is Top Soccer is not, it's not rec, it's not competitive. Top Soccer is a community. So if you're in an area where there is a club close to you, try to reach out to that club and get to know them and learn from what they're doing. They will be your best resource. We can certainly coordinate that. I've done it with 2 different clubs in Regency already, and it has worked really, really well. There are several benefits to having a Top Soccer program, and one of those is you're providing inclusiveness for those players that normally would not even get to play soccer. You're building their self-esteem. There's a lot of social interaction that they may not get otherwise. Also, is soccer for enjoyment. There's no yelling, no screaming, no, telling Johnny to go run and get the ball or knock somebody down. This is pure enjoyment for these kids. It's a very positive, rewarding program. And you can also use volunteer hours for high school programs for this. You have to remember that when there's bright futures, you got to have those volunteer hours. It looks good on their resume for colleges. So there's all kinds of ways to get your volunteer base. And the very last thing about Top Soccer, it's feel good fun. So we want anyone interested to reach out, talk to us. Coming very, very soon, it's going to be an updated FYSA Top Soccer page. We're going to have program contacts, program locator, resources, our committee contacts, and club schedule. This is important. If you currently have a program, I need to know when you run your program. Do you run it in the fall? Do you run it in the spring? Do you do both? Do you run it in the summer? We want to provide parents and others in our organization information so that they know when your programs run. Again, here's our contact information. You can reach out to us by email. There's the Top Soccer page. There's also a Facebook group, FYSA Top Soccer. We would love for everyone to go on and subscribe to that page. You can post things about your program there when you're holding your registration. It's open to anyone that is within FYSA. So thank you for your time. And does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Jennifer, we tried to start a TOPS program probably 8 or 10 years ago, and what we found, it wasn't getting volunteers or anything like that. We had a real difficult time identifying enough people, athletes, the kids to come down and play. Could you include in your research the various places that someone would need to call? In other words, Dave and I tried everything, and we had 6 people or 7 people. We were not able to find the resources in the community where we would find the athletes that would be willing to participate. Could you put out something on that so that when you go to do that, you're able to tap into all of those resources?
Yeah, certainly. What we can do, Paul, is we can certainly talk to those other people in the area, especially in Regency, that have programs, and find out how do they get their information out. And that's an important thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the most time-consuming part of it is trying to figure out what resources to go out to say, hey, we've got a TOPS soccer program. That was what the most difficult thing we had to do, and we were not successful.
You hit on something. You said to me you only had 6 or 7. You can
Yes.
start a TOPS program with 2 players. And doing some research trying to find a video, that's one of the things I found is that several state organizations, when they were just starting up and doing it just out of the state, they would start with just 2 or 3 athletes. This because your program is unique based upon your athlete. You're not necessarily playing games and things like that. Then you're going to, you can start with just a small number. I see John has something to say, and John's from Oldsmar. John?
Yeah, hi. The best way to get this out is really to start small. That's how we did it with our program. The word of mouth communication with parents with kids with cognitive and physical disabilities is amazing. They have their own internal network. If you start something and these athletes have a good experience, that word will spread. That's exactly how our program grew to, I mean, we've got like 75 kids in our program right now. And it's really word of mouth. So start small is okay, but you just need to make sure that you're doing it the right way.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Jen.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, if anybody needs to get a hold of Jen, you can get a hold of her at the email address there. Thanks, Jen.
No problem. You can take it back now, Joel.
I'm working on it. All right.
All right. So we are now at a very important part of this Region C meeting, the future leadership of the FYSA board, and the way we're going to do it, I'm going to allow each candidate 10 minutes or so or less to state his platform and his vision. And then if there's any questions, we'll do it after all three of them has had their time to do it. And with that, we'll start with Marino.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Regency, for allowing me to be here today. It's going to be a long day for some of us, as we have 3 of these to go through. The reason, for those of you that don't know, I'm Marino Torrance. I'm the past president of FYSA. I was president for 8 years before John Stacy took over. I'm now a member of the UF Youth Board of Directors and as well as Appeals Committee for US Soccer. The reason why I decided to run again, I still have a lot of desire and fire to help FYSA. I haven't forgotten where I came from. I believe that with my experience, I'll be able to lead FYSA out of this uncertain times that it's now. And I believe we need somebody with my experience. And that's why I decided to come back and run for it again. Short, and I know we got a lot of time, and so if anybody got any questions.
We'll do it afterwards, Marino.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my apologies.
Dara?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Good morning, Regency. First and foremost, I hope and pray that you are all well in these unprecedented times. I thank you all for all you do and continue to do for your clubs, leagues, and your members. I'd like to say a special thank you to Mike, Greg, and John for all they do for our board and our region. I'm Dara Cullen, your current VP of Player Development for FYSA, and I'm running for president of FYSA at the upcoming virtual AGM. Given these uncertain times, now more than ever, FYSA needs stability, experience, and a strong leadership to take FYSA forward. Given my extensive background of being a president of a club, a VP of a state, your current VP of Coach Player Development, a director of a tournament, I have represented our state on a national level. I am a nationally licensed coach and a current father of 4. I'm confident that I am the right choice. I have the time and, more importantly, the energy and the passion to lead FYSA. Thank you.
Thanks, Dara.
Thank you, Mike.
Kai?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone in Region C. My name is Kai Belmer. I'm running for FYSA president. I created a website. You can go to www.kaifor FYSApresident.com, Kai for FYSApresident.com. You will find my 14-point plan, along with 3 podcast episodes that I've released in the 14-point plan. Just want to go over a couple of things really quick on some of the things. One of the points is enhanced communication and to also enhance transparency. And one of those things would be to, because we started off with some virtual town hall meetings this year that were very successful and really well done by Joel and by John. And I know the membership did find that very helpful and useful. And we got a lot of positive feedbacks from that. And I think we need to keep that. We need to keep that going since it is available and it's easy to use and user friendly. And we're getting a lot of good responses. I would propose as president that requiring all region VPs to host 6 to 8 virtual meetings in their region, because I think having these meetings on a regular basis and having a dialogue on a regular basis will help, clear out any issues that are that can be addressed right there, sight on scene with everybody. That I think a lot of it has to do with more dialogue as well between the clubs, between FYSA. And I'd also like to see, also propose the director of coaching to host 6 to 8 virtual meetings, along with the assistant DOC to host 6 to 8 virtual roundtables there with the recreational soccer leaders. So just to, again, enhance communication and transparency with that. The revisit the 50-mile rule. Obviously, it's a hot topic. It's going to come up at this year's AGM. I'm not a big fan of the 15-mile rule. I don't think it serves the game. I think we should have a criteria to join this fantastic association, and not, by mileage. I just don't think that's the correct way of doing it. Now, however, I don't think you just strike it and try to rush to kind of replace it with unknowns at the moment. I think this has to be a process, right? I think we should look at what other state associations are doing, what our members input from our members, and then come up with a solid plan. Because I think we need to put the game first, the players, right, and the membership. And I think, for example, if clubs should have a certain number of players, right, registered, we kind of already have that rule in the books. Submit a club structure and philosophy as part of the application. Okay, so again, a clear path forward. So we just don't have people just picking up a ball, finding a field, and registering, 40, 50 kids and call that a club. I think we need to be very, careful to select that we're bringing in quality, also to ensure the safety. And there's a good environment for kids at those places. And reform tryout rule is another point I think we all keep talking about. I think that needs to be discussed. We need to finish the rewrite of the bylaws. Obviously, that's something that is ongoing. Continuous focus on recreational soccer, right? That's our base. That's the lifeblood of soccer. And we have a great Mark is a great pickup for FYSA. I think that was one of the best additions besides Joel to FYSA. And I think we can, with a lot of good things happening with the recreational committee, I think continue to build on that. One of my other points here, real quick, I know I'm kind of running out of time, is we in a lot of places we're seeing a decline in girls soccer, and I would like to see FYSA focus on growing the girls and game, and women in coaching as well, right? So one of my points is there has, I propose creating a girls soccer. Hold on real quick. My 5-year-old has just come in here. Hold on, give me 2 minutes, okay? All right. Anyway, so right. Yeah, it's getting bombed in. All right, sorry. Listen, sorry about the cut in here from Colton. If you want to see my complete plan, again, go for Kai kai4fysapresident.com to see the plan. And let me take care of this real quick. I'll be right back to answer any questions.
Dara, what is your position on the 15-mile rule and anything else that that has been discussed? Yeah, same with you, Marina.
Yeah, on the 15-mile rule again, I think it restricts growth. So I am and have always been opposed to it. I definitely think that we do need to put forth a criteria, procedure, process for clubs coming on board that needs to be met. Yes, I definitely want to grow the membership. I want it to be a superior, inclusive experience for all. But again, we have to go back and make sure that we're doing it the right way with regards to process and procedure.
Marina?
I was around the president when the rule came out in 2008, I believe, Jenna, 2008, right? It served a purpose where it came from. It was really a way to stop, like Kai said, this group of 20, 30 coming in, finding a field, taking it away from an affiliate that was already there, and creating a small club just because I'm mad with the coach of my son or daughter. But being as part of the chair of the rules committee right now with FYSA, the rules committee decided that it was against our own bylaw and U.S. soccer bylaw. So that's why, if you're, I think most of you are aware, the board of directors, they made a decision to get away from the 50-mile rule. It was also 3 separate proposals for the AGM. One to get away from the complete 50-mile rule. The other one was to do a couple other minor tweaks to it. But originally, the only intent was exactly for having this little breakaway groups, creating their own and taking field and time away from the assisting clubs. That was almost a way to protect the assisting clubs.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Marino, how is that bylaw violating U.S. soccer bylaw? Through all information that Tom Tianich has sent out, there is not really a violation of that rule of U.S. soccer. Can you explain why you think it is?
Well, that's Tom's opinion. He's always been in favor of that 50-mile rule, just to, I guess, to protect his club, the Hollywood Wildcats. We have had 2, that I'm aware at least, 2 different states, and Joel, maybe you can say it. I know for one, so sure, it's Colorado, that they appealed this, denying somebody to open a club in their state. And both times U.S. Soccer says you cannot stop anybody basically from becoming a club. You cannot deny anybody a right to create their own club and participate in soccer. It happened in Colorado. Now, can't remember that other state. We in Florida had one with the Homestead Soccer Club back a few years ago, where we denied re-affiliation based on the 50-mile rule. I sat there with the lawyers, with the representative, with the arbitrator from U.S. Soccer. They basically say, yes, we violated the 50-mile rule that they have. We use fields. At the end of the day, the arbitrator says that's not an excuse for denying an affiliation. You cannot deny anybody the right to participate in your state association. So that's been done a couple of times. So that's why it's basically against the bylaw. The bylaw basically says you have to open the state to any amateur association that want to participate. Thank you.
Any other questions for the candidates?
I think Paul wants to say something, but he's mute.
Paul, you're muted.
I have a question. Well, I have a question for Dara and Marino. But Marino, here's the first question. What would you say to somebody who would ask you why a member would want to return to the leadership that's been there for the last 12 years? In that time, FYSA has not grown a bit. In fact, it might have gone back. I mean, I think the 100,000 has been there for years. In that time, Florida has gained between 3 and 4 million people. If 20% of the population, which is about right, is between 15 and 18, that would give us about 600,000 potential players. Yet, in all of the time that we look back, FYSA has been stagnant. Now, the point is, why would someone want to go back to that and not go forward and try and grow the association?
What do you mean by going backwards? That I can't understand. I understand what you're saying about going forward, but you're saying why you want to come back to.
What would you say to someone who asks you, why would we want to go back to the leadership? In other words, you're saying, well, geez, I was there for 12 years. You were there for 12 years. The fact is our association hadn't grown in all that time. If that's the case, why would anybody want to go back to that? Why not? Why go back to that type of management?
Well, I still have the fire and the desire to do it. That's why I came back. That's one thing. And for those that always say the numbers are going down, I would like for anyone to show me the numbers, because for every year we either stay or went up. And it also has to do a lot with the federation, okay? It created all these alphabets out there and allow all these people, and everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side, and they'll go ahead and try it. And a lot of them come back because they see it's not the same.
Well, if I may say something, Marino, I did not say we went backwards. So don't mischaracterize what I said. I said we didn't go forwards in a time where we had millions of people come into the state, probably 600,000 to 700,000 new 5 to 18-year-olds. We didn't grow at all, nothing. We stayed stagnant. And my point is, why would we want to go back to that leadership?
Well, Paul, that's your opinion, and
it is. My question is to you. Am I incorrect in assuming that?
Well, I'm only one person, okay? And I have to do what the board of directors decide. The president doesn't have any votes or anything. And when people think that the president can make those decisions on their own, believe me, it's not. You got 18 other people in that boardroom with you that make those decisions. The only thing you do is run a meeting and try to support. And once we get out of that meeting, support what the board of directors decided to do, whether it's your choice or not. We always got to work as a one group, one person, not as a divisive and walk out of the room and say, I wasn't in favor of this, I wasn't in favor of that, but the board decided. I was only if you're going to take a look at it and really don't want to be the face, because there's a lot of better faces out there, but I was just the face. The president's just the face of the organization and works to try to implement what the board of directors decides. I mean, yes, in hindsight, there could be things that maybe they were done differently, but believe me, for the 8 years that I was president, whatever decision was made with the best interest of the soccer players in the state of Florida.
Thanks, Marino. Dara, do you want to have anything to say? And then we'll end the forum on the candidates.
I'm sorry, was I meant to comment on Paul's question to Marino?
No, Dara, I have a question for you.
Okay,
that was specifically to Marino. It really doesn't characterize you. I was just wondering why we, would want to go back to the leadership that left us, without any growth. Dara, last year we had a meeting with the heads of all of the playing coalitions in the state of Florida. There were probably 3,000 teams represented at the meeting. I know you weren't there, but John was. And my question is, nothing really that we talked about at the meeting seemed to get into management at all. And that is support for the thousands of teams that are already playing in coalitions that are part of and have been part of the state of Florida for 20 years. My question to you is, do you have any idea, are you going to try and change that at all? Or are we still going to be left with the plethora, the 13 or 14 different leagues we have now? And look, we don't care about the league or the name of the league. The fact is, when all of us have 17 different choices, 15 different choices, we end up with a mishmash of, you know, games that are not played, games that are not played against competent people, games that are played at places we shouldn't be playing. Do you have any thought to the crux of the issue with the multitude of leagues now just swamping the state?
Yeah, Paul, thank you very much for the question. And again, I wasn't involved in that coalition or the meeting. Sorry.
No.
With regards to leagues, yes, there's leagues here in the state. I will be open and honest with you. I am not affiliated with or tied to any leagues. All leagues in my eyes in our state are created equal, if you will. But one of the things I want to do, though, if I am successful as your next president, is I propose that we bring in all the leagues, whether more than likely it's going to be virtual. But what I would propose is that we bring in all the leagues and have a summit, because at the end of the day, everything that we do needs to be player first decision making. And yes, are these leagues, again, is it the leagues, is it the clubs, is it player first decision making, is it the best interest of the player? But again, I plan on sitting down with all of the leagues in a closed, or we can do it virtually or whatever, we can broadcast it on YouTube. Again, I want to get to a system where it works for all, and again, yes, there's loads of games, there's games on top of games, and that creates all sorts of issues with referees, fields, etc. So injuries and what have you. So yes, again, so that is part of my plan, is to sit down with all of the leagues.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much,
you.
and good luck to all of you over the next couple of weeks. With that, we get to the elections.
Thank you, Regency.
Thank you, fellas.
Mike,
Now,
is it possible to make a short comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that all the clubs, we need to understand that a common response, which I have heard in the past year several times, is that the board is a body of 19 people, and it's not my opinion only that counts. I think that we need to be cognizant that when we choose a leader, we should choose somebody who is able to get those 19 people around him,
yes,
so that he can implement his programs. We should somebody who is able to, if those 19 people don't get around himself, is able to get the membership around himself, so that the membership pressures those 19 to do the right thing for soccer. And I think that is the way, and I don't mean to be here the Pope or anything else. It should be the way we look at who we want to be the president of FYSA. Thank you.
You do look like the Pope there, though. All right, guys, thank you very much. We are now on the elections for commissioners north and south. I'm going to read this. This is all going to be done under Rule 508.2, and you can read it over there. Elections shall be held within the regions prior to the AGM and supervised by the RVP. Nominations shall be accepted from the floor, even if the state is presented by a nominating committee. Eligibility requires the affiliate to be in good standing at the time. Election by email shall be permitted under the supervision of myself, RVP, and the FYSA secretary, who shall approve the procedure. And that is Chris Ellison. So, these times do allow for these crazy situations. And I think that we all can be confident that that this will be done in a credible and honest way. The emails will be directed to the rvpc@fysa.com and the secretary@fysa.com. We will have this information go out to everybody again. And starting with the North election, the incumbent is John Witkowski, and running up against him is James Bowen. And with that, I will give James Bowen a few minutes, and then John will be a few minutes, and then we'll go to the south. James, yours.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. I hope everybody's feeling good today, and thank you everybody for tuning in for this Weber seminar. My name is James Bowen. I've been around soccer since the 1970s when I started playing. So I've been a player, I've been a coach. I'm currently a referee, a signer, and a referee. My goal is to help out anybody in Regency North, or really just anybody in the state of Florida, to help grow the sport of soccer. I believe that recreational is the backbone to successful club and our sport. So I'm here to help anybody out. I will post my email address on the comments. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I'll return your email as soon as possible. Again, thank you very much, and everyone, please have a safe and great day.
John?
How you doing? I'm John Witkowski. I've had the privilege to be your Regency North Commissioner. I have maybe done some not contact with all of you folks, and I told you when I was elected I'd like to. I have sent out most of the emails that I get from the state office. Joel and Jared do really great things on getting the communications out, and yes, I probably duplicate the communications that I give you. But at any point in time, my email is available and my phone is available for you guys to contact me. As you know, there's some clubs out there that I have gone out to the clubs and handled problems, and I'm there to handle your problems. At the board of directors meetings, I push the support of the region, the total region, do what I feel is best for the region. You can look at the meetings online where I do speak my opinion that I think is best for our affiliates. We are in this 15-mile rule, and I feel that all our affiliates out there are franchises to the FYSA community. I think we should support them more and more and do what we do best to keep them from having clubs grow on top of them. I am a big supporter of the recreational soccer program, and I just hope that I can stay at my position. I ask for your support in this election, and make sure you email Mike and the secretary. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, John. And to all those, when you do email, just in the subject line, just note the region that you are voting for, either the North or the South. Thanks, John. Thanks, James. I know both of you for many years, so good luck to both of you. Down now to the South vacancy, which is a one-year deal. This is the position that Kai vacated when he stepped down to get prepared to run for president. So this is a one-year deal. It'll come up for election again after this year. And with that, Ed, if you can have your few minutes, please.
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Ed Kinsey, and I've been involved with youth soccer for Regency for close to 30 years. I've been a club vice president. I've been a club director of coaching. I have multiple national coaching licenses. I have been involved on the staff side of it for, 10 or 12 years. First as a assistant commissioner, and then a short stint as the Region C3 commissioner. And then we had the downsizing of the board. and I took on the appointed commissioner role. My best enjoyment of it all is working with the tournaments, the Commissioner's Cup, the Region C Cup, the State Cup, President's Cup. Some major concerns of mine is that dissemination of information for the board meetings. I feel it's necessary that the agendas go out to the affiliates so that any ideas concerning with any subjects on the agenda can be brought to the board meeting by the commissioners. Now, with that being said, there's a lot that's said at board meetings that can change one's opinion. So it's very important that you have insight and knowledge to draw good conclusions and to vote righteously. Some issues that have transpired over the past couple years within Region C is board governance. It's very important that the boards are governed properly, and we have all fielded many questions to assist these boards in the way they are governed. And it's important that Florida Youth Soccer takes a stand to assist and insist that for the good of the game and the board's members, that the boards are governed properly. And with that end, we I take many calls after work, during work, and I'm very happy to do so. And it's not easy sometimes, but with the right mindset, you can get through it. I take the stand that Kai took with a 15-mile rule. I think it's important that that we set criteria for membership rather than in the broader perspective than what it currently is. I think growth in certain areas of our region is important, and particularly down south here, in the Fort Myers area where the leagues are traveling across the state to play. I think there is better growth in that area. It would help the game. I know it's closer to travel from south of Naples to Port Charlotte than it is to travel to Western Florida. Now, I think a marketing strategy is in order. And I think Jared would be a good person to put the work on television commercials that could advertise our sport and do this in targeted areas. I would think we would have the budget for it. That would be one way of increasing our numbers.
Thanks, Ed.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Alex?
Everyone, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Alex.
Thank you everyone for your time and attendance for this regional meeting. My name is Alex Piovano. Soccer has been a part of my life since I was about 5 years old. I played rec and competitive soccer until I was about 18 and suffered a knee injury. And a few years later, I reluctantly accepted a coaching role for a co-ed U16 rec team that my sister was on. And I learned very quickly that if you ever have the opportunity to coach a sibling, you need to run the other way. Having coached my sister, 3 of her friends, and 14 hormonal 15-year-old boys, I feel I'm ready for just about anything that soccer can throw my way. I joined the local club after my oldest daughter started playing. I've coached just about every age group from U16 to U19 in both rec and competitive players. Done everything on my board from registration, being the president, and pretty much running the tractor to seed the field. In my time at my current club, I created a competitive program, started a top soccer program in my club, and eventually worked with several other clubs in my neighborhood to work together and offer more programs throughout the year. I have a 19-year-old daughter in college that still reps and volunteers as a coach and as a top soccer buddy. And I have a 12-year-old daughter that still plays. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I definitely have a vested interest in the game and in its success. I've been to many AGMs over the past years and look forward to the opportunity to get involved at the next level and see what I can do to help increase the number of players and see more recreational programs and tournaments. It's also a passion of mine to see top soccer get to a point of seeing league play with actual teams and festival style tournaments for our top soccer players.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your stepping up to be a candidate for these deals. And the voting will close on Monday at 10 a.m. So you got 48 hours in order to get the votes in to the email addresses. We will make sure that only the registered agents of the clubs that is now on your screen can vote. We'll make sure that it is exactly as it should be, and then we will announce it as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, Mike, just to add on to that, guys, make sure that you're only voting for your regional commissioner that's in your district. If you're a C South, you cannot vote in C North. And then again, those emails are right here. We'll be expecting them to come from the agent of record. Frankly, it doesn't matter if you were on this meeting or not. With this being email, it needs to come from the agent of record for your affiliate. If there's any questions or if any of these things need to be updated, we can get those, but just know we're working on sort of a tight time frame here so we can get you guys the results. This is mostly North. C starts right here with the last two, or South starts right here with the last two. And then this second page is all South.
Oh, that's interesting to see. Where does it split? Where'd the line come, Mike, in your district and in C?
Joel?
That honestly, that predates me. I couldn't tell you exactly where.
I'm asking Mike, where?
Oh, I think
where is it? I see.
I think it's Highway 60. Highway 60.
Oh, really? Okay. So you would extend 60 right through Pinellas County, right? I see Largo's south, which is in Pinellas County. So obviously it comes in above that somewhere, huh?
So St. Pete Raiders.
I think
that's
St.
south
Pete.
as well.
I think St. Pete is down, Paul. St. Pete South.
Yeah, it's around. It's 60. It's Gulf to Bay in Pinellas County, but it's.
Oh, okay, Gulf to Bay. Very good. Okay, got it.
And then again, for anybody else, make sure you send it to both of these addresses. They're posted on the FYSA website. Mike and Chris will get together early next week to tabulate the votes. We should probably have it out. I don't know, Mike, you think Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, hopefully by Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday morning. Guys, thank you very much. I know Joel has to get ready for, along with many of the other speakers, getting ready for the Region D AGM, which starts in 9 minutes. So thank you very much for attending. Thank you for your input. Good luck to all the candidates. And we'll see you at the AGM. Or at any of the web. Thank you, guys.
Mike.
Thank you.